Welcome to The Explainer. So today, we're setting off on an absolutely epic journey. We're bridging the gap between ancient, seemingly impossible scriptures and cutting-edge modern marine archaeology. We are looking at a story that, honestly, for centuries was just dismissed as mere folklore. But now, it's literally forcing historians to rewrite the timelines of human civilization.
Okay, let's dive right into this. Could a 5,000-year-old mythological metropolis, a city that texts describe as having streets paved with precious gems and walls of solid gold, actually exist beneath the crashing waves off the coast of Gujarat in India? I mean, for generations, people read these ancient texts and just thought, well, that's a beautiful story. But what if the ocean had simply swallowed the truth?
Section 1. The Golden City of Dwarka. So here's the backstory. Following the death of the tyrant Kansa, his enraged father-in-law, Jarasandha, relentlessly attacked the city of Mathura. And I mean relentlessly, 17 times to be exact. To protect his people from this endless warfare, Lord Krishna made a strategic decision to leave Mathura and build this impregnable utopian city far away on the coast. Now, the sheer scale of this place, as described in texts like the Bhagavata Purana, is just staggering. Krishna reportedly prayed to the sea god Varuna, who granted him 12 yojanas of land. That is roughly 153 kilometers. The divine architect Vishwakarma was then tasked with building it, and wow, what a city it was. We're talking perfectly planned grids leading straight to advanced harbors, silver floors, and over 900 magnificent palaces for Krishna's queens, including Rukmini and Satyabhama. It was this entirely self-sufficient, unbelievably wealthy metropolis.
Section 2. Dual Curses and Ultimate Destruction. Now, what's really interesting here is how these two distinct curses converge to seal the city's fate. Because as perfectly planned as Dwarka was, absolutely no walls of gold could protect it from destiny. Its golden era was essentially doomed by these two prophecies. First, after the devastating Mahabharata war, a grieving Gandhari cursed Krishna. She blamed him for not stopping the war and proclaimed that, just as her lineage was destroyed, his Yadava lineage would perish too. But the second curse, that was brought on by sheer arrogance. Krishna's son, Samba, actually dressed up as a pregnant woman as a prank to test the omniscience of some visiting sages. Insulted by the mockery, the powerful sages cursed Samba right back, declaring he would give birth to an iron pestle that would bring about the end of their entire clan.
The resulting domino effect is fascinating, but also super heartbreaking. Terrified by the sage's curse, the Yadavas crushed that iron pestle into tiny pieces and threw them straight into the sea. But, you really can't outrun a curse. A giant fish ended up swallowing those iron pieces. Then, fishermen caught the fish, found the iron in its belly, and sold it to a local hunter named Jara. Jara then used that exact same iron to forge a hunting arrow. And the tragic end? Later, while Krishna was resting in a forest, Jara mistook his foot for a deer and shot that very arrow, fatally wounding him. With Krishna's departure from the mortal world, the texts say the mighty sea just rose up and swallowed Dwarka whole.
Section 3. Dr. Rao's Pioneering Marine Search.
For centuries, that incredible story was exactly where it ended. It was just a myth. But fast forward to the 1980s, and this underdog archaeologist dared to challenge the entire global historical establishment. We really have to set the scene to understand the immense challenge Dr. S.R. Rao faced here. In early 1980s India, marine archaeology was basically non-existent. It was this largely unfunded, highly skeptical field. People literally asked him, what is the point of linking mythology to history? Dr. Rao had almost zero institutional support. No underwater robots, no advanced sonar. He was out there relying on local fishermen, old boats, and just sheer willpower to find a mythical city at the bottom of the ocean.
So the crucial point is this incredibly small number, 800 rupees. That is literally what Dr. Rao started this monumental expedition with. Funding was so unbelievably scarce that he was actually buying the diving team's daily meals out of his own modest salary. It was a true passion project, entirely driven by his absolute conviction that the ancient epics held real geographical truths.
And you know what? His incredible perseverance totally paid off. Between 1983 and 1992, through some pretty dangerous manual dives, his team made stunning physical discoveries right where the scripture said Dwarka would be. 30 meters deep, they found massive stone walls stretching for 560 meters. They found over 30 gigantic stone pillars. They even discovered these highly advanced 3-hole stone anchors. And that's a huge deal, because it proved this wasn't just a basic settlement.
It was a massive ancient port with complex maritime navigation. It matched the Mahabharata's descriptions perfectly.
Now, despite finding all these physical artifacts, many global historians still tried to dismiss Dr. Rao's groundbreaking work. They were quick to label it as mere religious propaganda or a mythic revival. But Dr. Rao offered a really powerful, impartial defense. He said, "I consider the epics not as religious books, but as historical documents. If Rome and Athens can be excavated, why not Dwarka?" He basically forced the academic world to stop and ask why Western epics were treated as history waiting to be found, while Eastern epics were immediately discarded as fiction.
Section 4. Modern Science Validates Ancient Myths. Let's move to the 2000s and see how this all builds up.
Dr. Rao definitely laid the foundation, but the 2000s brought something completely new to the table: high-tech oceanography and irrefutable modern science. In 2001, this massive joint expedition was launched by the Archaeological Survey of India and the National Institute of Ocean Technology. Led by experts like Dr. Alok Tripathi and Dr. Rajiv Nigam, they weren't just relying on manual diving anymore. No, they brought in sub-bottom profilers, advanced sonar that could map the ocean floor digitally, and hardcore international carbon dating laboratories. They ended up scanning over 4,000 square meters of the seabed.
And the results from those international labs? They absolutely shocked the scientific community. They found artifacts securely dating between 1500 BC and 3000 BC. But honestly, it gets even crazier. Some pottery pieces they pulled up were found to be up to 9,000 years old. This proved these underwater structures were not only entirely real, but they potentially predated the Harappan civilization. Suddenly, all these geological timelines were aligning perfectly with the Dwapara Yuga mentioned in the ancient texts.
So we know the mythological reason, right? The curses, Krishna's departure, the ocean rising up in grief. But from a strict scientific perspective, how does an entire, highly advanced metropolis just end up submerged at the bottom of the ocean? Like, what is the actual geological mystery here?
And this brilliantly illustrates the scientific answer, which lies in the sea level rise theory. Research led by experts like Professor Rains looked at 20,000 years of data. What they found was that 11,000 years ago, global sea levels were about 25 meters lower than they are today. But then, around 5000 BCE, there was this sudden, rapid, tsunami-like rise in sea levels globally. Evidence of this has been found everywhere, from the Caribbean all the way to Indonesia. And wouldn't you know it, this global geological event perfectly matches the mythological timeline of Dwarka's rapid sinking.
Section 5. The Legacy of Lost Dwarka.
So what does this all mean for us today? Well, the legacy of the lost city of Dwarka is no longer just a bedtime story. It has completely evolved into verified, tangible human heritage. And this transition to undeniable reality was beautifully highlighted recently. In February 2024, the Indian Prime Minister actually conducted an underwater scuba expedition at Ponchiku Beach. He physically dived down to the ancient submerged ruins to offer peacock feathers in tribute. It is a really powerful global demonstration that this ancient site, which remember, was once ridiculed as pure fiction, is now recognized and honored at the highest levels of government and science.
The core takeaway from this incredible 90-year archaeological struggle is pretty profound. It really challenges us to reconsider what we just casually dismiss as only myths. The texts described a city of immense wealth, advanced harbors, and a sudden watery demise. And decades of manual diving, advanced sonar, and carbon dating prove that this story was, in fact, an incredibly accurate historical blueprint. In the case of Dwarka, faith and science aren't opposing forces at all. They're actually just two sides of the exact same truth.
So I'll leave you with this final thought. The ocean is vast, it's silent, and it keeps its secrets incredibly well. But as the tides roll in and crash against the modern shores of Gujarat, they carry the echoes of an ancient golden era. Next time you look out at the sea's waves, will you wonder what other historical truths are hidden in the depths, just waiting to be rediscovered? Thank you so much for joining us on this explainer, and remember to keep questioning the